Welcome, Selling Coaching Nation. My name is Jeffrey St Laurent. This is the Tuesday live show, and I'm excited about this episode because the topic of this is called Lessons for Your Business from a 46-Year Marriage. Today, which is July 28th, is my parents' 46-year wedding anniversary. And it's cool because 46 years of anything, especially nowadays or at any point in time, is a lot. It's a freaking lot. Some people don't even live that long, sadly. But in and of that length of success, I would call that, in that marriage, there's lots of great nuggets that only someone in a 46-year anything could tell you about. And interestingly enough, I had a conversation with them, obviously, and I thought, like, this would be a really good topic for my show today because what we're doing in our business is not short term, it's long term. And so I want to share some of those nuggets that I learned from them in today, so that you can not only, hey, if it helps improve your relationship, fantastic, but that will help us develop that mindset for the long-term business mindset, because that's what we need for our business. Before we get into that, I do record all of my live shows and I put them in my university on my website, sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business, start them from scratch or refine where they've been at after they've been doing it for a while, and help them with their structures and their systems in terms of their marketing, following up to get paying clients. Everything, everywhere in between. I have a lot of great resources at sellingcoaching.com. Right on the homepage, you can enter your name and email, become a part of my email community, and receive a great audio training called Launching Your Coaching Business, the First 3 Vital Steps. So you can go ahead and check that out. And then also I have a great 14-day GoPro challenge. If you haven't considered that, heard about it, or if you've been considering it but been on the fence about it, maybe the timing hasn't been right, check out when we're going to be doing the next one. We're running one right now as I speak. If you're watching this live, we'll be doing another one in August. So check for dates on that. Visit GoProChallenge.com. Now, with that being said, today's topic, lessons in business from a 46-year marriage. Like I said, it's my parents' 46-year wedding anniversary today. So it's kind of cool because, I remember, back when I came out of college, and I started working in a health club, and I was in the fitness industry, and I was excited about people that had business cards, like, oh my God, there's a business card. Like, wow, you're successful because you have a business card. I remember when I got my first business card, I still have it. And all the evolution of business cards when I believed in business cards, right? And then, when I started, talking to people and they've been doing something for 10 years, like, wow, 10 years, man. When you're coming out of college or things like that, and you're doing something 3-4 years, 10 years is a lot. And then, oh geez, now I say, I've been in business for 16 years. I'm like, 16 years, that's a lot. You know what I mean? And then I was in the fitness industry, 15 plus years. And that's a lot. Now we're starting to add the years up there, but it's a fraction. It's a fraction. My grandmother turned 100 this month. That's mind blowing. Her children, one of her sons is turning 80 this year. Like, what? My son's 14. You know what I mean? Like, so you stack some numbers. So when I hear the number 46 years of anything, but especially a marriage, it's rare. It's very rare. And so within that, it's not just, oh, someone's been together 46 years or been doing something for 46 years, but it's also that they're happy and they're healthy and they're in a happy marriage and they're doing what they love, right? And they're with each other and they're fulfilled and they're satisfied. Like that, not just anyone can do something for 46 years or be in a marriage for 46 years, right? Because you can't just do that. But to be able to do it and to be happy doing it, to me, that's a lot. So I'm fortunate because I have great role models for that. And I crave that for myself. And I know it's hard. But with that being said, I've been looking at my business. I've been in business as a coach now for 16 years as of this, show. I've been in business prior to that 15 plus years on my own as a personal trainer because I had my own business. Worked within clubs, had some other independent contracting stuff too, but primarily had my own business, right? So going on close to 30 years in business for myself, like I'm impressed with that, but I also like I'm 44 right now. I'm still young. I still got time, baby. Like I still have got to be creating results for a long time, and I've got to not only create results, but then I've got to be able to take whatever earnings I take from that and create something that's going to produce when I'm not working anymore. When I'm having playing more than working, right? I still play a lot now, but I still work more than I play, right? I want to be playing a lot more than I work, but I've got to set myself up for that, and that takes time. And so when we get to this spot, I had a conversation with my parents, and I had them write me a text, and I got my phone. I'm gonna read as I go through, some of the points and kind of elaborate on this. And the first thing I'll say is the topics that they gave me of what, why do you feel you're successful, to this date, 46 years later in a marriage, and oftentimes people think like, oh, there's these unique things or these big things that maybe you've never heard of, but the reality is the stuff I'm going to go over, and as I read through some of the things, it's not like it's mind blowing, right? It's not like, oh my God, it's like, I never thought of that. Oh, wow. Geez, no wonder they're successful. If I had known that, I'd be successful. It's not like that at all. In fact, it's never like that. So, remember, we're not talking necessarily about a marriage, but we're talking about your business, right? And so you have to remember as you are doing your business, whatever stage you're at, even at the stage I'm at 16 years in, some people might be listening to this, they've been doing their business for 20 years or whatever, or it could be 2 weeks or 2 months. But the point is that it's never any mind-blowing thing. It's never anything that you haven't heard of before. All these people that are now doing these high-ticket this, and then all of a sudden there's a $100,000 high-ticket thing, and it's just like, oh, and then there's just a new spin on. It's all the same stuff. It all goes back to the fundamentals. There's nothing new out there. There's no new fundamentals. The fundamentals are what makes something work. It's the foundational things. It's not a new special ninja secret hack that's just disguised, like strip it down. You have a beautiful shirt, you have nice shoes, you have a nice purse, you have a nice whatever, like strip it all down. We're all naked at the end of the day, and it's sometimes it ain't pretty. You know what I mean? Like it's the fundamentals. That's it. And that's what I go back to with some of the things that I'll share. So I have the text, and I'll read the whole thing. I had my mom. She was a school teacher for 30 plus years, 35 years or so. And so because I didn't want to be like taking notes while I just want to have a conversation with them. And I'm like, hey, can you summarize this and write it in an email for me so I can use it for my show? And so I'll read you this, and then I'll go through each point and what I feel and how I feel it relates to our business. You could obviously make the relation yourself, but I want to share it because of how I feel it relates, because I think there are some important notes to it after having done it for the length of time that I have. So they wrote some points on a long marriage: unconditional love, patience, trust, feeling safe, sense of humor, being able to forgive, knowing when to give in, sharing values, we instead of me, supporting each other, knowing the other is there for you in good times and in bad, celebrating the small things unique to you as a couple, faith, and being thankful for our blessings as a couple. And then the last thing was true love. So I get a little emotional because it's my parents, but it's there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And when I see things like unconditional love, I'll bring that up first, because within our business, there's got to be this unconditional love for what we do, regardless of the result. This is an important thing. And as I work with my mentor coaching clients, my one-on-one clients, just the other day, someone, they emailed me and they were like kind of freaking out in some ways, in a good way, but I'm doing this and nothing's happening and stuff like that. And it's not like they're giving up, but there's many times in our business where you're not going to be getting the results that you're wanting for, you're going for, that you're looking for, or that you should be getting by doing X, Y, or Z. And odds are you haven't done them long enough. That's always the case because, I've been doing this. You've been doing it 2 weeks, dude. Keep going. You know what I mean? Oh, I've been doing this. All right, you've been doing it 2 years. Keep going. Like it's a small amount of time. That's why I kind of paralleled like, oh, 5 years, 10 years. Okay, then it's just like 46 years. That's a lifetime, 100 years, like my grandmother. Like that's when you've been doing something that long, 2 years isn't anything. 2 months isn't anything. 2 weeks isn't anything. 5 years, 10 years, it's not anything. So let's get this straight, is this unconditional love we've got to have for our business. And I know a lot of, that's what keeps going with coaches, is that we've got this unconditional passion for coaching, right? And I relate this back to our why. Our why must be strong, because if our why isn't strong enough, that unconditional love, then those obstacles stay obstacles, and we've gotten beaten down. Anyone can get excited about anything in the beginning, but can you stand the test of time? Marriage, same thing with a business. It's not a pretty thing, and sometimes it's rote. I've been doing this 16 years, and there's times, as much as every coaching call I have, I love. Every question a client has for me, I love. Every group call, every whatever, every email, right? But sometimes I hate doing it, right? Like, do you understand that? Like, sometimes I don't want to do it. Sometimes I just want to I don't want to answer the question. Sometimes I want to be doing something else. Sometimes but that's real. But I love every moment of it. And I'm there, and I give 100% or whatever percent I can give at that time, right? But that's an unconditional love for what we do. But it doesn't mean you have to like it. We do it. And if there's that unconditional love in there, that's when, no matter what we're feeling personally, oh, I don't want to answer this question. I just caught up on my emails, and then someone else asks another question. Damn it. Oh, I just felt like, because now I can get on to like this thing that I know I need to do or whatever. Doesn't mean I answer like, oh, I'm not like that. I'm just like, oh, I love it. So I do it. It keeps me going. And I'm being real with you on those things, because this is, in the beginning, we expect this to be this passionate thing. Like, even in a relationship, oh my God, I love you. And it's like, no, it's not how it is later on, and you might not love it, or you might not want to, but you do it because there's an unconditional love. It's just not expressed the same way. That's what we're going for here. Patience. That's the other thing that they wrote. That's kind of a built-in. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't have any patience, or I'm not good with patience, or I'm not a patient person. So what are you saying? Like there's a certain amount of patience we're born with? Like, you're born and everyone has X% patience and X% trust and X%, like discipline. It's like, no, you're a human being. Patience it's a virtue. It's an acquired ability. It's a skill set. How about that? It's a skill set. And it's something that you learn and you practice. It's not just like, oh, I have patience or I don't have patience. Oh, I didn't get patience when I was born. Like, duh, you're being stupid. Like, everyone has the ability to have patience. We've got to start to understand that. And when patience is synonymous to me as a word that goes into the long-term thing. And everything I teach, by the way, why this topic is so important for me and close to me, not just because this is, paralleling this to my parents' marriage, but is because I've always been a long-term person. Like, I've always been like with my business. It's not just like the short-term results. I can get down to the microscopic level, but I'm always thinking big picture. Like, how is this going to be providing for me next month? How is this going to be providing for me come January, come next year, come, and next thing you know, a year goes by, 5 years goes by, and now I'm 16 years in, and I'm like, I don't know how I've gotten here. I mean, I know because I teach some of this stuff, but still, how am I going to do this for another 16 years? I don't know. I've got to take it day by day, but when I take it day by day, what I've got to do is I've got to think, how is this a long-term activity? How am I going to be able to sustain this? So like when I set my mentor coaching clients up with, a baseline marketing system and a structure, my group mentor coaching clients, things like that is it's like, all right, we'll do an email a week. We'll do a live show a week. Let's get this over to, you can use this as a post. It's a pretty tight system that revolves around kind of one thought, one topic, that doesn't really take a lot of time once they practice and do it. And another marketing person might look at it and go, that's all they're doing? Like, well, you could be doing that every day. You got to send daily emails. You got to send, you know, you'd be doing more. You got to post every day, multiple times a day, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, okay, yeah, sure. Can you do more things to be effective? Yes, but if we don't have a baseline thing that we're doing, I call it the heartbeat of our business, then are you going to be sending an email every day of the week forever? Some people, absolutely. And I'm not saying that people don't do that. Like, some marketers are great marketers, and we should be emailing every day. But what's sustainable for you? And we've got to start people off. Just like when I was in the fitness world, I start someone with an exercise program. It's not like we'd be working out every day, twice a day, and we're going to be doing this with our nutrition and blah, blah, blah. It's like you're setting someone else up to fail. Even if they can do that for the first week, great. Second week, great. What's going to happen the third, fourth? Are you going to be doing that 5, 10 years from now? No, you're not. You're not. So you've got to set a baseline up for yourself, and that's where the long-term mindset comes in, and that's where that patience comes in. And when you set yourself up with achievable actions, how about this? You don't require as much patience. Like, I like to set things up in my space where it doesn't require patience from me. There's a natural space where there's just the evolution of what is. And if you set yourself up with the right mindset of a long term, I don't have to have as much patience because I know this is going to evolve. I don't have certain expectations that my GoPro challenge is going to be X, Y, or Z right out of the gate. If it is, fantastic. If it's not, then I didn't expect it to be. I set it up for success, and I allow it to unfold as I go along because I know whatever happens now, I'm going to improve upon it and get better the next time and the next time and the next time and the next time. And if it's more than what I wanted it to be, then fantastic. I'll just keep going. But if it's not, then it's not like it's going to destroy me. And I don't need that patience because I just know that I'm going to be doing this over and over again. And it's a long-term play, not, oh, this is going to be the one thing where I've got to earn my whatever $1,000 month. And if I don't do it, because I signed up for this program, $10,000 program in your first month, and I did it and I earned, $200 and I'm a complete failure. It's like, no, run that thing again for the next 5 years. And then maybe at some point you're going to get up to your first 5-figure month. What's wrong with that? And there's nothing wrong with that, only your expectation around it. Let's keep going on. Trust, they wrote. Well, that's a big word, and obviously in a relationship it's everything. In our business, it's such a big piece. And now with the trust piece, this is where I find where I really work with my mentor coaching clients, because with trust, sometimes in the beginning I remember, how do you trust yourself? You've never done this before. How do you trust the process when you don't understand the process or you don't know the process? That's it. It doesn't mean you're lacking trust. It just means you're just lacking experience or knowledge, not necessarily trust. However, once you start finding the work and you find the process, or like when my mentor coaching clients hire me and work with me, that's where I can say, trust the process, trust me. You've got to develop a relationship with your clients, right? So I've got to develop a relationship with my clients where they can trust me, where they just got to, okay, if Jeff says this, he's listening to what I want and where I'm going, and he's been through some of these or many of these things before. I'm just going to trust the fact that even if it feels counterintuitive to what I think, or I'm like, oh, I really feel like I need to do this, but Jeff's telling me something different, trust that process. And that's what I had to do when I hired my mentor coaching, my mentor coach years ago, the people that I've worked with over the years. There's some of the things they were telling me that I'm like, oh my God, you want me to create a 8 CD audio course? At the time, I remember it was 2005 I did that course, and it was going to cost me 20 grand. I didn't have 20 grand. I had to open up a home equity line of credit, and I pulled 20 grand out of my house, and this is when I printed CDs. It was an 8 CD audio course, a tangible course. I still got a bunch of them in my basement still. Sold a whole bunch of them, but I still got them. And I invested 20 grand in the production and the recording equipment, and it was a lot, and I didn't know the vision of it, but he's like, do this and do this. I'm going to have you on my stage. And I listened and I trusted that process. Thank God I did, because what I learned through that, it wasn't something he could teach me. Right? It wasn't something he could sit on the phone and talk and explain to me. It was, right? But I would have understood it logically, like I was reading a course, and you read something that you download or you watch a video online. You might even listen to me now and you might go, yes, that makes sense. But it doesn't do anything for you until you actually execute on it. And there's a part of that blind faith where you just got to trust that I'm here and I'm all in and I'm going for this, and they told me to jump, and I'm looking down and all I'm seeing is like rocks down the bottom, and I can't even see the bottom, and you're telling me to jump. Like, you're crazy. But you just got to jump, and leap in the net will appear. Like, if someone's saying the net, if someone's jumped this many times before and they're like, there's a net down there, and you look down there and you're like, there's no net, dude, you're nuts. But if you don't trust that person, then you get where it goes, and that's where we've got to what we've got to bring into our business to go from there. Let's keep going on. I like this one, sense of humor. This is the text for those that are coming in that my parents sent me. So sense of humor, like you got to have a sense of humor in this. Like, I laugh all the time in my business. I laugh with my clients. I laugh at myself. I laugh at myself. I laugh at my clients, not in a rude way. We laugh with things. You've got to be laughing with things. I laugh when someone says something ridiculous or does something ridiculous or doesn't do something, or like when my clients, like, oh, like you've got to have fun with this. Like, it's a business, but sometimes with business, like people like, oh, business, and I should button this collar now, and I need to be a little bit more professional, and I need to have, fall within guidelines. And it's like, okay, you need to have a certain level of professionalism. I'm not going to get up on here and start F-bombing. And if that's me, then maybe that's where I'm going to go. But even if that's me, I'm going to also recognize, there's certain boundaries I want to have, and I want to be professional in that sense. But you got to have fun with this. You got to have fun with your business. You got to not take things too seriously. Sometimes the results are like, oh, results, and my numbers, and I'm crunching the numbers, and I got to meet the deadlines, and I got to meet the quotas. And it's like, in some businesses, it's pretty hardcore. But look, that's where all us coaches are helping all those people with stress and lack of purpose, because that's all it is this, and it's killing them, or they have no life outside of that, or they're losing their family, or they're overweight and whatever, because that's all they're doing is their whole life is a number every month that they got to meet, But yeah, we want to have those aspirations. We want to have the goals. We want to have the result, the activity-based goals that I talk about, right? But we've also got to not take it too seriously. I've had many a months where it's just like, oh, I want to hit this number, or I want to do this, and it just didn't work out. Like, or I was confident, hey, if I do this and I follow up with these people, oh, this person's gonna hire me, and blah blah, and it didn't work out. And it's just like, if I can't laugh about it or take it, have a sense of humor about the whole thing, then I'm going to drive myself insane, and I'm not going to have fun doing this, and it's going to be anxiety producing, where it's just like, at some point we've got to look at the realities of what we're doing, right? At some point we've got to look at the realities. It's like, geez, I've been at this for a year now and I haven't earned a dime. Okay, well, I can't give up on it, but I've got to really look at what I'm doing. Let's dive in a little bit more, and let's just make sure, you haven't done it for a year and haven't gotten any results. But if we look at the work and the consistency of it, realizing, well, you really haven't done anything. Okay, well, no wonder I haven't gotten results. But don't beat yourself up about it. Just be like, that's kind of funny that I think this way, thinking I can, create a 5-figure month and not do anything to get it. Or maybe you created your first $1,000 month, and then the next month you're back at 0 or 100 again, and you're like all disappointed. And it's like, you got to laugh at yourself and be like, well, what were you thinking? You think just because you created a $1,000 month, you can create another one? You know what I mean? Or you fill in the blank. You create a $10,000 month, and then the next one's I've been doing this long enough now with my coaching clients, where many of my clients have created people that I've been working with 3, 4, 5 years. They created, when they create their first $5,000 month, $10,000 month, right? Some of them multiple 5-figure month, and then the next month they're back at 5,000 again, or they're back at a fraction of that, and they're like, in a frenzy. They're like, oh, and they saw themselves for a moment like, I had a $10,000 month, and I'm like the man, or I'm the woman, and then now it's like I'm at like 4,000 the next month, and it's like, yeah, well, that's how the business goes right now. You can have your peaks, and right now your peaks are smaller than that, but that's kind of how it goes, because you get a lot of business, and the next thing you know, you get a month or so where you don't get much, or if any, or you have some residual stuff, and then all of a sudden you spike again. It's just over time what happens is the spikes and the valleys hopefully start to close a little bit, so it's not as drastic and it becomes more consistent, but it takes time to be consistent. So don't over expect things for yourself. Some of the other things that they were saying, being able to forgive and knowing when to give in. So those are pieces that I feel are important here. Forgive yourself. Don't hold yourself to a certain standard that you're not at yet. Like that $10,000 a month example or the 1,000-month example, and then the next month you're back down at a fraction of that. It's like, well, you're not there yet. You got to forgive yourself. You got to be able to give in and realize it's like, well, I'm not a, 6-figure income earner yet. I'm not a, consistent 5-figure monthly income earner yet. I had a 5-figure month, or I had a $1,000 month. Great for me. Celebrate that, but then move on and recognize, oh, I want to have more of those. So what did I do to create this one? And then where can I go to create the next one? Let's go through a few of these, because there's a whole lot more in here. I'm just kind of pulling out. Oh, this one, celebrating, being there good times and in bad, and celebrating the small things. I think those are some big pieces I've tried to role model in my business to everybody, because I'm mentoring coaches, but I do this with myself. But now because I'm mentoring coaching, I look to celebrate those successes along the way. Like if you've been following me for a while in my Facebook group, every time I hit like a milestone number. In fact, in my Selling Coaching private Facebook group, we just hit 2,500 members. I'll probably be doing my show next week about that, because I want to celebrate the success and I want to share that success, but I want to talk about my path to get there, because 2,500 was no different than 100. It was no different than 200 or 500 or my first 10. You know what I mean? It really wasn't any different. I've done the same things. It just happened to me a longer period of time. And some people have done that in a whole lot shorter time than I have, and some people have done it a whole lot longer than I have, or some people will never do it, but it doesn't matter the time. It means that it happens. So I'll be talking about that, but I'll role model those things, like on my daily podcast that I have, my Selling Coaching Minute. A month or two ago, whatever it was, I hit 10,000 downloads. It's like, okay, well, my 100th download is no different than my 10,000th one, but I want to celebrate that because it means something. It's not like I'm taking the day off and you know what I mean? Oh, or I've earned a week off vacation because I had 10,000 downloads. No, but I could take a moment and celebrate it and share it, because it's important and it's exciting. And you can share those things with your audience too as you start to grow them. But those are the important things along the way. Like my parents said, celebrating the small things or the unique things to you as within your relationship as a couple. So the unique things to you, like when coaches get their certification, when they get, something like that, they got their first client, or they got their 10th client, or there might be some things that you don't celebrate out there, but, oh, I gave myself a raise. It's like, I'm now charging this versus charging that. Like, that's exciting. You didn't have to go to a boss. You didn't have to do a performance review. You woke up one day and you realized, I'm more valuable than I'm charging right now, or I'm at a certain phase where I feel it's time. It's a big step. It's a big step, because think back when you started off, when you're so oh my God, I can't do that. I'll never charge that, blah, blah, blah. Now you're thinking, hey, I'm not charging enough, so I need to charge more. It's a big step. But oftentimes we don't recognize those things. And those are the things that get us through. I think I've kind of went through, there's a few more things in there that I feel like is important. The last thing I'll close with is knowing that the other is there for you in good times and in bad. But knowing the other is there for you, I think that's an important piece, is that you can't be alone in this business. You're a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur, but you're by yourself, right? And now we have our communities of other coaches and things like that, and that's a piece to it. But you can't do this by yourself. Like, you need help. And this is not me like, oh, hire me as your mentor coach type of promotion type of thing. I'll tell you about that when we're done. But the point is that, like, yes, you need someone. You need to hire someone. You need to work with somebody. You need to expand your thoughts. You need guidance. You can't just think you're coming into this, even if you've got business experience in the past. I was an entrepreneur in a different industry, but I was an entrepreneur. I sold packages before as a personal trainer. I did a lot of the things. I did sessions before. I did a lot of the things, service-oriented stuff in another industry. But when I came into the coaching industry, things are different. Things have also evolved since then. Things will be evolving, with this whole COVID thing that's going on right now. I think this is going to massively shift how everyone does business. So in 5 years from now, the whole face of business is going to look different. And the things that are working now aren't going to work then. The things that worked 2 months ago, 4 months ago, aren't working now. And some of them are never going to work again. And so we must adapt, and we must shift, and we must evolve. And that's an important piece about it. But you need someone there to help you. You need people along the way. And you need people that are better than you. You can't be mixing with all other coaches that are in the same spot with you. You know, if you're swimming and everyone here is not a great swimmer and you start drowning and they don't know how to swim, you know what I mean? They can say like, well, do this or do that, but they don't know yet. They haven't done it yet, you know? So it's like you're all swimming with people that are at the same level as you. You gotta put yourself in circles where people are better than you, that are pushing with you, that are doing things that you haven't done yet, that have experience that you haven't had yet. You want to be the dumbest, the brokest, the ugliest. I'm joking, but you know what I'm saying? Like the slowest. Like that's what I've always strived around is I always want to put myself in circles where I'm all of those things because that's pushing me to become better. If I'm the smartest and the most attractive and the richest and the brightest and the fastest and the strongest, like I'm setting myself back because I'm going to get slower and broker and uglier and weaker because I'm hanging around with people in the situations that are bringing me down. Not on purpose. It's just the natural evolution. You know, you become who you hang around with. So same thing here is you need to be around people that are pushing and that are excelling, and you need to be hiring mentors and people that have been there and done that, someone you can find that you can trust, and that's what's going to get you to move forward. You know, one of my things my parents said that wasn't in a text, you know, and I remember on the conversation was the simple fact that, you know, they had help along the way. You know, they had to rely on and friends and family and other couples, you know, to rely on. They each individually had to rely on some of their friends to talk to, you know, therapists along the way, things like that, you know, that gave them guidance. They read books together to allow them to grow and understand each other better and how to thrive in a marriage. They didn't just figure this all out on their own. Yes, a lot of it they did, but they also had help along the way. Same thing goes for us. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully you've seen this. I've seen a lot of great comments if you're watching live. And also, you know, if you're in a position, you know, when you're like that and you want some help, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to me where we can have a conversation. Go to my website, sellingcoaching.com, and fill out the form at the bottom of the work with me page, and we can have a